The Wild West, an era synonymous with lawlessness, ruggedness, and adventure, was not just a domain dominated by cowboys and outlaws. Women played pivotal roles in shaping the frontier, often resorting to unconventional and sometimes downright bizarre practices to survive and thrive in the harsh conditions. Here are 10 documented stories of the crazy, scary, and wild practices women engaged in during the Wild West era. Number 1. Dueling for honor. In the rugged landscape of the Wild West, honor was a currency as valuable as gold, and for women like Pearl Hart, defending it sometimes meant resorting to drastic measures. The year was 1899, and Hart, a notorious stagecoach robber, found herself embroiled in a heated exchange with a man named Joe Boot. Insults were exchanged, tempers flared, and before anyone knew it, a challenge was issued. A duel to settle the score. It was a scene straight out of a dime novel. A woman, armed and ready to face off against a man in a test of courage and resolve. Yet, despite the bravado and bluster, the duel never came to pass. Perhaps it was the intervention of cooler heads or the realization that violence begets only more violence. Regardless, the mere act of a woman challenging a man to a duel spoke volumes about the shifting dynamics of power and agency in the untamed frontier. Number 2. Cross-dressing for survival. Life in the Wild West was a harsh and unforgiving existence, particularly for women seeking to carve out a place of their own in a world dominated by men. For some, like Charlie Parkhurst, the solution was as unconventional as it was daring: cross-dressing. Born Charlotte Darky Parkhurst, Charlie's early life was marked by adversity and hardship. Yet, instead of succumbing to the limitations imposed by her gender, she chose to defy them. Dressed in men's clothing, Charlie found work as a stagecoach driver, a profession typically reserved for the rugged and fearless. With a steady hand and nerves of steel, she navigated treacherous terrain, earning the respect and admiration of her peers. It was only after her death that the truth was revealed. Charlie Parkhurst was, in fact, a woman, a revelation that only added to the legend of this remarkable pioneer. Number 3. Saloon Brawls. In the dimly lit confines of the Wild West saloon, chaos reigned supreme. Men of all stripes and dispositions gathered to drown their sorrows in whiskey and settle their disputes with fists. Yet, amidst the clamor and commotion, there was often a lone figure, a woman, holding her own against the tide of rowdy patrons. One such woman was Big Nose Kate, a fiery and formidable presence in any saloon she entered. Armed with a sharp tongue and a quicker temper, Kate was not one to back down from a fight. Whether it was a dispute over a card game gone awry or a slight to her honor, Kate met each challenge with steely resolve and a mean right hook. In a world where strength was measured in muscle and bravado, she proved that sometimes the most dangerous opponent was the one you least expected. Number 4. Running brothels. In the bustling frontier towns of the Wild West, where men outnumbered women 10 to 1, opportunities for enterprising individuals abounded. For some women, like Madame Dora Dufresne, the path to success lay behind the doors of a brothel. With a keen eye for business and a talent for persuasion, Dufresne built a lucrative empire that catered to the baser desires of the frontier elite. But running a brothel was no easy feat. It required not only charm and charisma, but also a steely resolve to navigate the treacherous waters of vice and corruption. Yet, for women like Dufresne, the rewards outweighed the risks. In a world where survival often meant compromising one's principles, she proved that sometimes the most unconventional path was also the most profitable. Number 5. Vigilantism. In the lawless expanse of the Wild West, justice was often a fleeting concept, a luxury afforded only to those with the means to enforce it. For women like Ella Watson, the murder of a loved one was a call to arms, a rallying cry against the forces of lawlessness and chaos that threatened to consume the frontier. Armed with nothing but grit and determination, Watson embarked on a quest for vengeance that would see her traverse the length and breadth of the Wyoming territory. Alongside a band of loyal ranch hands, she pursued her husband's killers with a single-minded resolve that bordered on obsession. In the end, justice was served, but at what cost? For Watson, the price of vengeance was paid in blood, a testament to the lengths some women would go to in the pursuit of justice. Number 6. Riding shotgun. In the perilous world of the Wild West, where danger lurked around every corner, women like stagecoach Mary Fields proved that courage knew no gender. Born into slavery, Fields defied the odds to become one of the first African-American women employed by the U.S. Postal Service, a feat made all the more remarkable by her chosen profession, stagecoach driver. Armed with little more than a shotgun and a steely resolve, Fields braved the untamed wilderness to deliver mail to the farthest reaches of the frontier. Along the way, she faced down bandits and outlaws with a fearlessness that belied her diminutive stature. In a world where strength was measured in grit and determination, Fields was a force to be reckoned with, a shining example of the indomitable spirit of Wild West women. Number 7. Claim jumping. In the gold rush towns of the Wild West, where fortunes were won and lost with the turn of a shovel, women like Eleanor Dumont sought to carve out their own piece of the American dream. Yet, for some, the lure of wealth proved too great to resist, leading them down a path of deception and deceit. Dumont, known to many as Madame Mustache, was one such woman. With a keen eye for opportunity and a ruthless ambition to match, she seized upon the chaos of the gold rush to enrich herself at the expense of others. Through a combination of charm and cunning, she staked her claim on mining claims that rightfully belonged to others, amassing a small fortune in the process. Yet, for all her wealth and power, Dumont's legacy would be forever tarnished by the stain of greed, a cautionary tale of the perils of unchecked ambition. Number 8. Prostitution as a means of survival. In the lawless frontier towns of the Wild West, where vice and virtue mingled in equal measure, women like Poker Alice knew that survival often meant embracing the darker side of human nature. Born Alice Ivers, she rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most notorious figures in the gambling halls and saloons that dotted the landscape. With a winning smile and a quick wit, Alice charmed her way into the hearts and wallets of the men who frequented her establishments. Yet, behind the facade of respectability lay a darker truth. Alice was no stranger to the world of prostitution, using her charms to supplement her income and maintain her lavish lifestyle. In a world where morality was a luxury few could afford, Alice proved that sometimes survival meant playing by a different set of rules. Number 9. Fending off attacks. In the untamed wilderness of the Wild West, where danger lurked behind every tree and rock, women like Martha Jane Cannery, better known as Calamity Jane, knew that survival often came down to a simple equation: fight or flight. Born into poverty and hardship, Jane learned at an early age that the only person she could rely on was herself. Armed with little more than a sharp tongue and a quick draw, Jane faced down danger at every turn, never backing down from a fight. Whether it was a band of outlaws or a hungry bear, she met each challenge with a courage and resolve that bordered on recklessness. In a world where strength was measured in grit and determination, Jane was a force to be reckoned with, a living embodiment of the untamed spirit of the Wild West. Number 10. Performing in Wild West shows. In the sprawling cities and dusty towns of the Wild West, where legend often blurred with reality, women like Annie Oakley became living symbols of the frontier spirit. Born Phoebe Ann Mosey, Oakley rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most celebrated sharpshooters of her time, a feat made all the more remarkable by her gender. With a steady hand and nerves of steel, Oakley dazzled audiences with her incredible marksmanship, performing death-defying feats of skill and precision that left crowds in awe. Yet behind the glittering facade of the Wild West show lay a darker truth. Oakley's fame came at a price, as she struggled to reconcile her public persona with the private trials and tribulations of her personal life. In a world where myth often overshadowed reality, Oakley's legacy endures as a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. And that's it from this video. See you in the next one.